The coronavirus is what everyone is talking about, and for good reason. The headlines have been pretty scary lately. Yeah. But this is not the first time that we've had to deal with a pandemic. It's happened several times before. First, there's the initial shock of the pandemic being announced, followed by a bit of panic, and then after a while, life goes on. And to prove this, I'm going to go back in time. The SARS Pandemic.
SARS dominated the news as the mystery bug spread. Networks broadcast daily press conferences with doctors, public health officials, and conflicting messages. Newspapers printed as many as 25 articles a day about the disease. They frequently mentioned the disease's origins in China. Images of Asian populations wearing surgical masks were burned into public consciousness as a symbol of SARS. This flurry of alarming imagery and headlines suggested panic and confusion around the facts of the outbreak.
The Ebola virus.
This is something that we take very seriously. As soon as there's an outbreak anywhere in the world of any disease that could have significant effects, the CDC is in communication with the World Health Organization and other multilateral agencies to try to make sure that we've got an appropriate response.
The Zika virus.
The latest on that dangerous Zika virus is spreading now to Florida, where the governor has declared a state of emergency in 4 counties. And ground zero for the outbreak, Brazil is struggling to contain it, with prominent voices now calling for this summer's Rio Olympics to be canceled.
So am I suggesting that the coronavirus will just go away like all the other pandemics before it? I don't know. I mean, I hope so, but I don't know. No one really knows for sure at this point. But what I do know is that life has to continue, and so does business. Which has me wondering, how has the coronavirus affected your recruitment efforts? It's not hard to find stories online about companies laying people off as a result of the coronavirus. A hidden story, I think, that is will become a mainstream story pretty soon, I think, is that companies are slowing down their recruitment efforts because of the coronavirus. I was talking about this recently with one of my coworkers, Courtney Lane, and this is what was said.
So beginning early last week and really picking up steam as the week went on, we started seeing companies that were slowing down their hiring or even going into hiring freezes altogether. And I think it's important for us to remember that while it may make good business sense for us to slow down our hiring, it doesn't necessarily mean that we need to be slowing down our recruiting. If anything, this is the time to really be ramping up those efforts in your passive candidate outreach and building those talent pipelines so that when business needs turn around and it's time to start hiring again, you're really positioned well to do so.
Something else I've noticed that's been happening in connection with the coronavirus is this very, very disturbing trend of people harassing and discriminating against Asians, not just here in the United States, but worldwide. Let me share with you some news clips that I've seen recently.
You haven't heard of the coronavirus?
So, what does that have to do with us?
Last month, a man posted videos on Facebook that appear to show employees at 2 hotels in Indiana turning him away.
So no Asians can stay here. Why is that? Because of virus.
CBS News reached out to the alleged victim but did not hear back. Wyndham Hotels and Resorts, which owns both hotels, said in a statement they are deeply troubled by these incidents as they are not reflective of our values or our expectations of franchisees, and they're treating this matter seriously.
In this Asian market in Dublin city centre, it's business as usual. But some Chinese restaurants it supplies say business has been affected.
Especially during the Chinese New Year period. I'm talking about, they've seen like 50% to 60% less business and customers coming through the door. And I think it's just because people are literally associating the virus with all things Asian and Chinese. I think the connection is unfair.
When the Asian man stays put, the other passenger picks up what looks like a cleaning bottle and sprays it in his direction. Asian American community leaders say such behavior just makes matters worse.
Okay, consider two things. On one hand, you have companies slowing down their recruiting programs, and on the other hand, you have an increase of harassment and discrimination against Asians. You put those two together and you have a big recruitment opportunity that your company could be taking advantage of. I'll explain further after this.
Before we started using Proactive Talent, we had 600 openings and one recruiter and just not the resources to get that work done. Very quickly out of the gate, Proactive was able to show us how they can do this work very quickly for us and get us where we need to be. The results we've been able to achieve since working with Proactive Talent includes reducing our cost to hire by nearly 50% and hiring 1,300 people within a 6-month period. If you want someone that knows what they're doing, that has expertise, that sat where you're sitting right now, this is the organization to work with.
Let me share a few stats. All right, on this, thank you so much. Okay, the U.S. Asian population grew 72% between 2000 and 2015, which is the fastest growth rate of any ethnic group in the United States. When you consider Asians between 25 years old and older, say 51%, they have a bachelor's degree or higher level of education, compared to 30% of all Americans that age. And then most significant, Asian Americans are 12% of the professional workforce. All that to say, no company in the United States can afford to ostracize the Asian population, especially if that company is focused on the tech sector, because the Asian population makes up about 14% of the tech industry workforce. As the public anxiety over the coronavirus continues, no doubt the anxiety that's felt out in the public will find its way inside of your company. And people will begin to discriminate against Asian Americans, whether consciously or subconsciously. Oh my God, can you imagine what would happen if your company was found guilty of actively discriminating against Asians because of the coronavirus? Could your brand recover from that kind of negative publicity? Now is a good time to proactively protect your employment brand. Remind your workers that the coronavirus does not discriminate, and neither do you. I would also take this time to do some very targeted talent mapping. Why? Well, if your competitors are slowing down their recruiting efforts, how much more should you be ramping up your recruiting efforts by networking and talking to candidates who are more available now than they were just a short while ago? And once you have those conversations with these passive candidates, then once things turn back to normal, then you have a pipeline of talent ready to go. And if you do that, then your face could look something like this.